The modern world has witnessed a remarkable convergence of technology and politics, where digital influencers and national leaders sometimes cross paths in unexpected and sometimes contentious ways. The conflict between Elon Musk, the high-profile entrepreneur known for his ventures in space exploration and digital innovation, and President Volodymyr Zelensky, the elected leader of Ukraine during a time of crisis, exemplifies this phenomenon. Their interactions, which unfolded publicly through tweets, interviews, and media commentaries, have become a case study in the complexities of statecraft and technological activism. It all began at a moment when Ukraine was in the international spotlight due to its ongoing conflict. Amid the crisis, Elon Musk's company, SpaceX, had already been providing critical communications technology through its Starlink satellite network. This service was lauded as an innovative lifeline that enabled secure communications in areas where infrastructure had been compromised. For many Ukrainians, Starlink represented hope, a demonstration of how private innovation could help a nation in distress. However, as events unfolded, the narrative began to diverge into a more contentious realm. Elon Musk, whose public persona is defined as much by his offbeat tweets as by his groundbreaking ventures, began to voice opinions that critics felt stepped beyond technological support and into the political arena. In a series of posts and interviews, Musk started questioning the efficiency and transparency of government responses to the crisis. His tone, at times, was seen as dismissive of established political protocols, a stance that did not sit well with President Zelensky, whose leadership was being tested by the demands of a national emergency. The initial spark of discord came when Musk made remarks suggesting that the Ukrainian government was not fully leveraging available technology and that the private sector could do a better job. These comments, made in an informal online setting, were interpreted by many in Ukraine as a direct critique of Zelensky's leadership. The president, known for his measured public addresses and efforts to rally international support, saw these comments as undermining the dignity of his nation during an already turbulent period. As social media reactions exploded, Musk's tweets were dissected by analysts and political commentators alike. Many argue that while Musk's intentions might have been to advocate for innovation and efficiency, his delivery was perceived as overly blunt and, at times, disrespectful. The emerging narrative was that of a conflict between a tech visionary, unaccustomed to the nuances of international diplomacy, and a head of state whose every word carries the weight of national morale. The clash was emblematic of two very different worldviews, one that sees technology as the ultimate problem solver, and another that believes political leadership must navigate a labyrinth of historical, cultural, and emotional factors. President Zelensky responded in a manner that underscored his commitment to national unity and international solidarity. In a series of public statements and interviews, he stressed that while technological assistance was invaluable, the challenges of statecraft required a more nuanced and respectful approach. Zelensky emphasized that Ukraine's struggle was not merely about connectivity or innovation. It was about preserving the nation's sovereignty and the dignity of its people. He argued that every decision made in the corridors of power had consequences on the ground, affecting families, communities, and the future of the country. The exchange soon escalated when media outlets began drawing comparisons between Musk's role as a private innovator and Zelensky's responsibilities as a national leader. Opinion pieces appeared across international news platforms, framing the conflict as a microcosm of a larger debate. Should private technology giants be allowed to exert influence over political narratives, especially in times of crisis? Critics contended that Musk's approach blurred the lines between entrepreneurial ambition and political meddling. For many Ukrainians, the president's rebuttal was a reaffirmation of national pride, a declaration that matters of state should not be reduced to a series of social media sound bites. Simultaneously, the conflict highlighted an emerging trend in global politics: the influence of digital platforms in shaping public discourse. Social media, with its rapid-fire exchange of opinions, became the battleground where both Musk supporters and detractors voiced their stances. On one side were those who saw Musk as a modern-day savior, someone who could provide practical solutions when governments faltered. On the other were critics who felt that his comments trivialized the gravity of Ukraine's struggles by reducing them to a technological challenge. This polarization was not only a reflection of differing opinions on technological progress, but also a mirror of the broader societal debates about the role of private enterprise in public affairs. Amid the heated debates, Musk attempted to clarify his position by stressing that his criticisms were aimed at bureaucratic inefficiencies rather than personal attacks. However, his clarifications were met with mixed reactions. Some appreciated his candor, arguing that blunt critique was necessary to shake up complacent systems. Others felt that in the context of a nation under siege, even well-intentioned criticism could be seen as a form of disrespect. Zelensky's camp maintained that national crises require a unified front and that internal discord, however unintended, could be exploited by adversaries. The fallout from these exchanges was multifaceted. On the one hand, SpaceX's Starlink service continued to be a crucial asset for Ukrainian communications, and many in Ukraine acknowledged its life-saving role. On the other hand, the public spat raised important questions about accountability and the responsibilities of private actors during national emergencies. It became clear that when influential figures like Musk step into politically charged debates, the ripple effects extend far beyond the digital realm. This phase of the conflict was marked by a gradual escalation of rhetoric, with both sides doubling down on their core messages. Musk's subsequent social media posts continued to push for a more technology-driven approach to governance, while Zelensky reiterated that technology, however advanced, could not replace the human element inherent in leadership. As tensions simmered, the public narrative evolved from a simple clash of personalities into a broader debate about the intersection of innovation, governance, and national identity, a debate that would only intensify in the coming weeks. By the close of this first chapter, it was evident that the conflict was not merely a fleeting media spectacle. It was symptomatic of a deeper, more complex challenge facing modern societies, reconciling the rapid pace of technological innovation with the deliberate, often slower processes of political decision-making. In the following part, we will delve into how this conflict further escalated, its impact on public opinion and policy, and the lessons that emerged from this unique encounter between a tech titan and a national leader. The second phase of the conflict between Elon Musk and President Zelensky witnessed an intensification of both rhetoric and public scrutiny. As the initial clash over the role of technology in crisis management unfolded, the dispute began to mirror larger ideological battles, pitting technological disruption against traditional political processes, individual initiative against collective responsibility. This period was characterized by an ever-widening chasm in perspectives and a series of events that underscored the stakes involved. In the weeks following the initial exchange, media coverage intensified, with international outlets closely following the developments. Headlines began to appear that framed the dispute as emblematic of the new age of digital diplomacy. Analysts highlighted how Musk's penchant for candid, sometimes incendiary remarks on social media, had collided head-on with the decorum expected of a head of state during a time of national crisis. These narratives underscored the inherent tension between Musk's role as a disruptive innovator and the traditional responsibilities of political leadership, a tension that had now become a matter of public debate. Public reactions to the escalating conflict were as polarized as the media coverage. Supporters of Musk argued that his willingness to challenge bureaucratic inertia was a breath of fresh air. They pointed out that, in many instances, established political institutions can be slow to adapt to rapidly changing circumstances. For them, Musk's criticisms were not personal, but rather a call for a more dynamic and responsive governance model, one that could harness technological advancements to meet modern challenges. They celebrated SpaceX's contribution to Ukraine, emphasizing that the provision of Starlink services had been instrumental in maintaining connectivity during crucial moments. Conversely, supporters of President Zelensky viewed Musk's comments as an unwelcome intrusion into the realm of sovereign governance. They argued that the challenges faced by Ukraine were deeply rooted in historical, cultural, and geopolitical factors that could not be resolved by technology alone. For these critics, Musk's interventions risked undermining the seriousness of the national struggle and diluting the collective resolve required to face external threats. Zelensky's defenders maintained that while innovation was essential, it needed to be tempered by respect for complexities of statecraft, a balance that Musk's public statements appeared to disrupt. The conflict also had significant implications for international diplomacy and the broader relationship between private enterprise and government. As global powers watched the unfolding drama, it became clear that this was not merely a domestic issue for Ukraine. It was a case study in how digital platforms could be leveraged or misused to influence political discourse and international relations. Commentators pointed out that the Musk-Zelensky spat could set a precedent for future interactions between influential tech leaders and national governments. In an era where information travels at the speed of light, the boundaries between public service and private enterprise have become increasingly blurred. Adding another layer to the dispute was the reaction of other political figures and business leaders around the world. Some saw Musk's intervention as a challenge to the established order, while others believed it signified a necessary evolution in the way governments incorporate technology into their crisis management strategies. Several prominent figures in both political and tech circles engage in debates, often on social media platforms, about the appropriate roles and limits of private innovation in public affairs. These discussions not only reflected the immediate tensions between Musk and Zelensky, but also pointed to a broader shift in expectations about leadership in the digital age. Amid this contentious atmosphere, both Musk and Zelensky continue to refine their public narratives. Elon Musk, known for his unfiltered style, remained active on Twitter, where he often responded to criticism with a mix of technical justifications and personal opinions. His tweets were replete with references to the potential of artificial intelligence, automation, and next-generation communication systems, a vision of the future where technology could transcend the limitations of traditional governance. For Musk, the conflict was not merely about a single geopolitical event, but a broader manifesto calling for radical change. In contrast, President Zelensky, whose daily responsibilities were compounded by the immense challenges of wartime leadership, sought to channel his responses into calls for unity and resilience. In televised addresses and interviews with international media, he underscored that while technological support was invaluable, the human spirit and solidarity were the true cornerstones of Ukraine's resistance. His measured tone and carefully chosen words resonated with millions of Ukrainians, reaffirming the message that external assistance, no matter how advanced, could never replace the determination and unity of a people fighting for their freedom. As the public debate raged on, policymakers began to take note. The incident sparked discussions in legislative halls about the need for clearer guidelines governing the interaction between private tech companies and public institutions, especially in crisis scenarios. Experts argued that while innovation must be encouraged, it should not come at the expense of democratic accountability or the sanctity of state authority. In various forums, proposals were floated to establish frameworks that would allow private sector contributions while safeguarding the principles of governance and public trust. By the end of this turbulent phase, the conflict between Musk and Zelensky had evolved into a symbol of the broader challenges faced by modern societies. It highlighted the dual-edged nature of technological progress, a force capable of revolutionizing communication and disaster response, yet also one that could provoke unintended political consequences if wielded without sensitivity to context. Both men, representing very different worlds, had inadvertently exposed a fault line in contemporary politics. Their public exchanges served as a wake-up call to the global community, urging a re-examination of how technology and governance can coexist in a rapidly changing world. In retrospect, the Musk-Zelensky conflict was more than a clash of personalities or a series of provocative tweets. It was a microcosm of the dilemmas facing modern leadership. It forced us to ask, can visionary innovation be harmonized with the slow, deliberate processes of democracy? And in moments of national crisis, what is the right balance between individual initiative and collective responsibility? These questions remain at the forefront of debates among policymakers, technologists, and citizens alike, as the world continues to navigate the complex interplay between technology and statecraft.